We're ready to start.
Okay.
Just don't taxi us into anything.
Don't taxi us into anything.
My arms are not super long.
Okay.
If you think you're even getting close, pull the throttle back to idle, brake.
Got it.
Heading traffic, 173. And check our wingtips. 1-2.
Wingtip's good.
Alright.
They said make sure to watch out for the cones over here. Then we pull up to the stop line.
It is the hold short line.
Old short line.
So stop right here where we can see it. Because you want to keep all parts of the plane on this.
All parts of the plane. Got it.
Alright.
Ready to go?
Ready to go.
Okay, so we full throttle.
Go so far. Full throttle. We're looking for airspeed alive and green on our oil pressure and our...
Yep, green.
Yep.
Okay. Airspeed is alive. We're waiting for about 55 to 60.
Okay.
And there we are.
Heading traffic, 172, pop-up mic. Left base, 1-2.
Yep. Okay.
S is seatbelts.
Yep. I will put me on.
Thank you. Do you need me to teach you how to use it?
No, definitely not.
Okay.
I have like a PhD in seatbelts.
Okay. Clear prop.
Clear prop. And put your feet on the brakes.
We'll write down the calls for you for how you're going to respond to people when you're in the tower. We're going to go do our budget goes, and then if all goes well, hopefully it'll be nice and calm.
We want to do
Power on,
stalls. Okay. So for a power on stall, we do reduce our speed. Once I get lined up, I don't want to slip.
and your wind is pretty much straight down the runway when I was looking, I think. So your wind is kind of from right where you got perfect. Alright, so start flipping. Pushing out some. So aileron into the wind, so.
Doing my solo this morning. Didn't do it yesterday. It was just too much chop. Thermals were real heavy, pretty gusty, windy. I mean, it is perfectly calm out here right now, as it normally is in the morning, especially on clear days. So I got out here early just to get prepared, watch the sunrise. It's coming up right now. You can kind of see it right there. Sunrise. It's like about 6:45 in the morning, Friday, getting ready to do my solo. I'm excited. It'll be the first time flying a plane by myself this morning. Just waiting on my instructor to get here. She is, I think, flying in from Fort Worth, living in Fort Worth right now, keeps her plane at Grand Prairie. She should be flying in. I'm expecting her soon. Probably go ahead and pull up ForeFlight and see where she is. I'm excited. I'm not nervous. I'm ready. I know how to fly this plane. I know how to take off. I know how to land. I know how to check. I know what to do in an emergency. And I think the plan really is to just fly around the airport, do some pattern work, land, and then we'll be good to go. And that's one step closer to becoming a professional pilot, which that's the whole reason why I'm doing this. I mean, want to fly for sure, but I'm not stopping at recreational private pilot. Plan is to get the private pilot license, get the instrument rating, get the commercial license, and then we'll see what happens after that. Most likely multi-engine. Still not quite sure if I'm gonna go the CFI route or not right now. Man, it sounds like the job market is seriously tough for CFIs. That's flight instructors. One new guy out here said, and it's August now, he just started like 2 weeks ago. He said he's been looking for a job since November. I guess the great news is that right now I don't need a job. Still selling real estate, still got savings and other things going on, which is, you know, very nice, very fortunate to be in that position, very blessed, I should say. The Lord has really taken care of me, and that's one of the main reasons why I decided to go ahead and do this, because I'm in a position. I'm in a position where I can afford it. I can invest the time and the resources and the energy into doing this right now. I'm patient, I'm excited, I'm not trying to rush anything, but I'm definitely on a mission to get this going as soon as I can, safely, efficiently, and as knowledgeably as I possibly can. So today's the solo, looking forward to it. Well, big update. Yesterday in the morning, I had a rather unpleasant falling out with my flight instructor. I don't know that it's appropriate to go into all that happened and who said what, who did what. I don't want to bash anybody, but I'm going to tell you a couple of things that I learned along the way. Number one, you've got to make sure that your flight instructor and you have compatible personalities. That's number one. So the advice that other flight school counselors and gurus that you can see on the YouTubes and whatnot, who say you should interview your flight instructors and don't be afraid to use another flight instructor if it's just not really clicking. I can confirm, based on my most recent experience, that is 100% correct. So it sucks when stuff like that happens, but I guess it's just the nature of the beast. It's just human nature. Not everybody's gonna get along. So unfortunately, me and this flight instructor were just butting heads, not getting along, rubbing each other the wrong way. It just didn't work out. So second thing I learned, you should really be willing to have very clear expectations, not only you as the student of your flight instructor, but you also want to know, what does the flight instructor, what are the expectations that they are going to have of you as the student? This is so critical because there were several things that happened during the short course of me working with this one CFI that they would get on to me about something that I didn't know or wasn't clearly articulated to me, or I'm fresh, I'm totally green, and I was getting scolded for things that this person, I guess, just figured I ought to know. I don't know, a lot of undeclared expectations, and that became an issue. So it's much easier to just meet potential issues and just kind of front run how this is all going to go, like right up front. For example, if the flight instructor is expecting the flight student to start pre-flighting the plane before the instructor arrives, you as the instructor should just make that the rule, be very clear with your student, and do not deviate. One of the hardest things to adjust to when you're a student very green and just wide-eyed and you're already got a million things running through your head and you're trying to keep it all straight, is if you start deviating and making exceptions and doing one way one time and then kind of changing the rules another time and just kind of being like a little loosey-goosey with your processes, it's going to make it very tough for your student. It would be much better if you just decided on one way of how you are going to conduct a lesson or conduct yourself, and just keep it that way and just do it right up front so that they just get used to it and just know that that's just the way that it is to begin with. 2A on top of that would be, and this has been suggested by, you know, some other gurus and counselors that you'll find out there, is see, based on expectations, see if they have a written syllabus. Now, of course, this is not for a Part 141 school because that is very structured. I'm at a Part 61 school, and one of the reasons why I chose this school is because, you know, it had a very relaxed atmosphere. But let me say this: a relaxed atmosphere does not mean unprofessional. Okay? So you can be professional and have a relaxed atmosphere at the same time. But the worst thing that I've seen so far is having a relaxed, loosey-goosey atmosphere and not being professional, i.e., you know, not being on time, not being clear with your words, your instructions, and not being very clear on expectations, right? So 2A is, do you have a written syllabus? And if you don't have a written syllabus, do you at least have a really good idea in your head of the sequence of training and what kind of needs to be checked off? And then number 3 is going to be having a clear communication style. This kind of goes along with expectations, but communication is so critical. If you can't communicate well and you can't communicate clearly, how are each other going to know what each other means? And how are each other going to know when you mean business? This happens in every industry, okay? This is not just for pilots and pilot teachers. This goes for really any business out there. You know, I come from the real estate business as a real estate broker, and man, you know, selling someone's home or helping someone buy a home is a very frustrating and emotional process, and you have to be very clear and communicate openly and honestly and front run what's going on and basically tell people, you know, what's going to happen and what to expect. It's, I mean, this was like one of the most critical things of the business, and there's no exception here with piloting as well. Number 4, do what you say you're going to do, without exception, no matter what. Now, sometimes things happen and you can't control them, but if your excuse every time something happens is, well, it was out of my control, no, that's a pattern. That's a pattern with the person, not a pattern with the world. One of the issues that I was having with this instructor was probably half the time this person was not on time. And so the final straw that I had was this person was not on time, did not clearly articulate the expectations that they had for me, did not communicate very well, during that whole situation. And then to top it all off, told me, well, we're gonna have to wrap this up by 9 because I've got another student coming in. And that's when I was like, whoa, hold on. You know, you can't be late to my appointment and then tell me that we're gonna have to end at a regular schedule because the other person, like, you gotta make sure that you're on time with them. That don't work. That is unprofessional, and that was kind of the last straw that I had. So, you know, like I said, I'm not gonna go into the whole story, tell you who it was, or, well, you probably figured out who it was because a lot of my videos have this person in there. So anyway, whatever. Point is, wasn't working out. Me and my instructor were not clicking, and so I went to the front office and I was like, hey, gotta get a new instructor. This is not gonna work out. And told them what my grievances were. Now, let me tell you where I went wrong in this process. The very first lesson I had with this instructor, within the first 5 minutes, their personality rubbed me wrong. That really set the tone for our relationship for the whole time. And I think we might have had 4 or 5 lessons together. Mistake number 1 was I did not have a fierce conversation with this instructor right up front and say, hey, listen, you know, the way you talk to me is not acceptable. And if we're not going to be able to communicate respectfully, then we can just agree to not work together and I'll just go find a different instructor right off the bat. That should have happened. That led to the next mistake, which was biting my tongue for the most part. Sometimes I would chime in and say, hey, listen, you know, you said this, but you meant this, and then turns out that this is actually what you meant to say, or this is actually the truth. And yeah, I had a situation where, you know, I come from a background where, you know, I'm the expert. I've got years of experience, know more than most of the people that I'm dealing with. Had people that I'm training, I'm the authority, and so this was a little difficult for me, you know, admittedly, and I kind of knew that going in, and I really had to, I was trying to check my ego at the door and be like, man, here I am in an industry that I don't know, I'm green, I'm the student, this person is my authority, and so, like, I thought that really what I was doing was battling my emotions and my ego, and I think that that was certainly part of it. I'm okay with that. I am perfectly okay with just swallowing my pride, understanding that I'm not the expert here. I'm perfectly willing to, you know, accept that I'm not the expert here, that I'm the student. This person is the teacher. I was just going to be like, hey, anytime I felt like I was getting rubbed the wrong way, my thought was, okay, this is just your ego talking, man. You don't like to be challenged, and you don't want someone telling that you're wrong, and you don't want someone, you know, barking at you and telling you how to do something. Because look, you know, I've rubbed people the wrong way as a real estate trainer, probably being too harsh on people. And so I just thought, like, hey, this is me getting my just desserts from all those years of training real estate agents and being hard on them. And so I just thought I was like, my ego was just getting in the way. I was willing to swallow my pride and just kind of move on with it. But it was ultimately what I deemed as very poor communication, missed expectations, emotional, poor communication, and unprofessionalism that, like, ultimately ended up making us have this falling out. My plan is to, once I'm not getting the stink eye from this person around the airport, to hopefully, you know, be able to shake hands, hug it out, and say, hey, listen, I'm sorry if I offended you. And because one thing I really don't want is, I don't want, first of all, my personality is I hate it when people don't like me. I don't want people to be mad at me. I certainly don't want to have a bad reputation. I want people to think of me as a person with integrity and gets along with people. And so I really don't like it when I have, you know, quote unquote enemies out there, or people that just don't like me, although I know that that happens. So I'm hoping that her and I will be able to hug it out, shake hands, let bygones be bygones, apologize, and you know, just agree that it wasn't a good fit and be able to move on in this industry. Because even though it's big, you know, it's kind of a small world out there, and so you just don't want to get a bad name. So I am about to be at the airport now with my new instructor, which is now going to be my fourth, well, really my third primary instructor. Had one, got passed off to his secondary. He left, had a lesson with a third. The fourth instructor was my second primary. Now we're on my third primary instructor in like 30 days. Is it me? Gosh, I hope not. But here we are. We are at Caddo Mills Airport. We're on the new side where the hangars are, and we are ready to get into 221 Whiskey Alpha for some flying today. Well, still not ready. I clearly have an ego issue. This kind of stuff will kill you, you know what I mean? Or what, whatever. It don't freaking matter, because the guy that needs to give me the endorsement right now ain't willing to.